We have to live life on life's terms, but we are also fortunate enough that we can renegotiate on a daily basis. But it's up to us. If you really are serious about some kind of change in your life, take a shot.
Welcome to yourbrilliance.com. I'm your host, Amy Waterman. So if you've been enticed by all those ads for the entrepreneurial life, just quit your day job and follow this advice, and you'll be swanning on a beach on some tropical island somewhere with your laptop on your lap and a cocktail in hand, leading the good life. Doesn't that sound great? Talk about living the dream. But our guest for today wants to inject a practical note into that discussion. He's been an entrepreneur for over 30 years, and his passion is his side hustle. There are pros and cons to starting a business that the online gurus aren't telling you. So if you're sick and tired of working for somebody else and you want to make a lot of money fast, then I want you to meet Henry. Henry Bronson has been a chef and the owner of Bistro Henry in Vermont for the last 25 years. He was nominated by his peers as one of the top chefs in the country and featured in Best Chefs America. He's also a traveler, author, and speaker who loves nothing more than accumulating and dispensing wisdom and stories. Look for him on the beaches and the ski slopes of the world, where he will always be sure to know the best place to eat. Welcome, Henry.
Hey, thanks so much, Amy. I really appreciate being here on your Brilliance. I'm stoked.
Okay, so I, of course, have to start out. Tell us about your business.
Yeah, right. Which one, right? The other thing is I see serial entrepreneurs. The only serial entrepreneur I really know about last name was Kellogg or Post, right? But that's beside that means you start a bunch of businesses and they fail. Is that the deal? Or, Look, there are a lot of people out there. I was listening to Gary Vee the other day, and he's talking about how many businesses he had and how much he had going on, and I thought that was pretty neat. I've narrowed it down. I've been a restaurant guy, as you can tell. I got the apron, I got the thing here. I'm in my restaurant. I've been a restaurant guy for over 40 years. I've had my own place, which means I've been unemployable for over 30. And but I had a side hustle fall in love with me, so to speak. Vice versa, because the truth of the matter is no matter what you're doing, it's never going to be enough, really, unless you have a big fat inheritance coming your way, or you live with a trust fund already, or if you've invested wisely and you saved everything and you already made a whole bunch of money. Most of us, the real people out there, the myth of working for 40 years and building in the American dream, we usually fall a little short on that. So that's where I'm at with my side business, and I love it because the entry cost was low, and it's a hell of a lot of fun.
So this is interesting because one of the things we hear by these people, promoting the entrepreneurial life is that it's the one business. They don't say you're probably good, best bet is to start several businesses. So they say, no, you just have this one business idea and it's going to work for you. So you recommend that people diversify.
Absolutely. I mean, I think every expert out there will tell you to diversify. If you've got some money, invest it. If you've got if you've got something working for you, that's great. But if you also have time, a lot of people complain they don't have any time. And I'll tell you an interesting story that I love. And it's the one where you get called into your boss's office and they tell you, listen, I got good news and bad news for you. All right, well, give it to me straight. So, well, here's the bad news. You're being laid off. The good news is you got the rest of the day off. The afternoon is yours. And then you look at that and you say, oh, this is absolutely terrible. What am I going to do? Is there any way I could fix that? What's happening? And the boss looks at you and says, well, let me put it to you this way. There's one thing you could do. Give us an hour a day, 5 hours a week for the next 2 years, and then you'll be able to retire at full pay. Would you take it? We're not going to pay you for that extra hour a day, but would you take it? I'm thinking 95% of the people out there would say, yes, I'll take it. And then you do it and it happens. Well, that's what a side business is. you get out there and you put in an extra hour a day, an extra 2 hours a day for a couple of years. And the next thing you know, you can wake up and it's like, holy moly, I've actually built something with a low entry point and I might have enough income to replace my full-time deal. And that's the magic of part-time. And if you don't know about the magic of part-time, I suggest you listen to a guy named Jim Rohn, who's just absolutely legendary. He actually went for 3 years in his company before he made his full-time income, I think, in less than a year, but he stayed with it for another couple of years because he loved to go to people and say, look what I'm doing part-time. Look what I'm doing part-time. You know, look how I invest, 5 hours a week. Can you find, granted, people are overworked and underpaid chronically. So it could be a stretch, but what's your long-term view? What are you working on? What are you doing? So
that isn't as sexy as the entrepreneurial story where you just quit your job entirely. You throw all your hopes and dreams into this business idea. You work your butt off, and then of course you're an overnight success. Like that's sexy.
yeah.
But what you're saying is actually you don't even need a business that can support you full time. All you need is some time to put into something you love on the side.
And you don't even need the time. All you need to do is commit to put the time in. All you got to, you don't, it's not magic. But, the other deal about this, end up on the beach in 3 months with a laptop and a cocktail. Look, that's just not true by any stretch of the imagination. There are a very few isolated people that go out there and hit it big. Some guy out there might have this great coaching program. He's got everybody to join him. So he's the guy on the beach. But what's he selling? What's he doing? What's he producing? Just more of the same. And we've all seen these clowns with a picture of themselves with a rented Lamborghini and a borrowed big ass watch, and it's like, oh, I'm so cool, et cetera, et cetera. And that's just not the way it is for people, for most of us. Hey, I didn't become a talented chef overnight. Why would you expect to be an overnight success in a side business, or better yet, a business you have no experience in? If you're a salesman and you decide you're going to open a dry cleaning shop, you might do okay a little bit, but you still have to learn about, all the toxic chemicals. I mean, there's no escaping that. Anyway.
So what I like is this idea that it can actually be sexy and cool to be that person with a full-time job who comes home and every night maybe works on your Etsy business, whatever you like to create. And that can actually be as satisfying, fulfilling as taking a huge financial risk and jumping into something you don't know how it's going to turn out.
Well, and there's that, let me put it this way. I own a restaurant. I've got almost 3 acres of land. I've got 15 employees. I've been in business for a long time. Cost of entry was about $750,000. There are a lot of opportunities out there that can cost anywhere from a few hundred to a few thousand, and they can all return. My favorite story, one of the idols in my company was a bus driver up until 6 years ago, driving a bus in Chicago Transit Authority. Open the door. Hey, how are you? Come on in. To the bus, to the bus, all over the city. 6 years ago, he handed in his ticket. He hasn't had a proper job since. The last picture I saw of him, he was learning. You ever see the Royal Caribbean cruise ship where they've got the built-in wave thing? Well, he learned how to do that. Nobody hops on there and knows how to do that right away. It's just like anything. But he actually chronicled it. It was pretty cool. His first day, it was like, boom. That's a lot of butt in the air, brother. What can I tell you? But thank you for letting somebody take your picture while you're doing that. By the end of the third day, he was standing up and he was riding. And that's that's kind of the magic. That's kind of the magic of this thing. Get in there, learn some skills, get with the right people. That's, if that guy is selling you a dream that he hasn't attained himself, and if whatever if you're only in it for the money, it's not going to happen for you. this stuff is about changing lives. I remember the first person that showed me Amway, and they were so excited about a dishwashing detergent that didn't pollute, that was like natural. They were excited by it. And that was like 1972 when, when they were inventing the Love Canal, and you'd have cloudy days in the East because the coal-fired power plants in Ohio were just, making climate. So it was, that was just cool stuff. But anyway.
Well, so going off the Amway, I want to talk about, so some people, when they think about starting a side hustle or supplementing their income, they don't really know what they're doing. They don't really know what they love. And so they start off with something that seems risk-free. Things like, the doTERRA and Young Living essential oils. It used to be the Pampered Chef and the Tupperware, Mary Kay or Avon. There's all these businesses that promise that you can work from home and it's all risk-free and it's going to be easy for you. What do you think about those?
I think a lot of people in those product-based things that I think for every success story, there's 100 people out there with a garage full of products that they either couldn't sell, got sick of using, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's a huge danger. Anything that's got that kind of model of where you have to buy so much stuff that you're not really going to use is crazy. And the reality of it is, if you're not excited by what you're doing, there are a lot of people out there who are just peddling stuff to peddle stuff. The guy that could sell a $2,000 Electrolux vacuum cleaner back in the day put on the best demonstration about something that sucked, but he made it not suck. And it was like, this is the last vacuum cleaner you're going to buy for the rest of your life. And people would just, you got to have something you're passionate about, something that resonates with you, because, look, people are smart, they understand you're either in it or you're not. The thing I'm in resonates with me. We talk about, you can find me on a ski slope or a beach, but it's part of it's because I'm going to find the best place to eat, because I'm going to go there and do my research. And that's a lot about what I like doing.
So I want to talk about your side hustle. Like, tell us what it is.
Well, I help people travel more. I help people save money traveling, and I help people who want to help people more. They can make a side income, and they can take it to whatever height they want. They can be like my buddy, who was a bus driver and hasn't had a job in forever. God bless him. He's, it's a travel thing. I think he's taken 14 trips already this year.
So that is the dream, isn't it?
And he's got a mortgage. He's got all the trappings of it's not like he lives in his mother's basement and hasn't paid rent for 6 years either. He's living a real life. Part of what happened to me is when I was raised by a single mom. So when I was 12, my mother came to me one day and said, "Hey, we're moving to France." I'm like, I knew geography, so I knew where it was. So I didn't get to say, where the hell is that? But my response was something to the effect of like, what the hell for? And it was the dynamic duo. We went to France and we lived there for a year and a half, and I learned French, and I learned French culture, and I learned what it was like to be seriously out of your comfort zone in a new place. And I got to, kind of the bonus was we lived in France, but we went all over. So I got to see all these wicked cool places. I mean, I've got stories, how dizzy can you get running down the outside stairway of the Tower of Pisa? I mean, it's a trip, so naturally, being in travel resonates with me, because I got two goals. It's like, go someplace cool and have fun and eat well.
It's about building a life around what you love, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I've been in the restaurant business, for years and years and years and years, and I love it. But let's face it, it's grueling. I got white hair. I'm only 19, so I got all the. But You
So
know,
tell us about the advantages of like
times
being
over,
an
but that's beside.
employee versus an employer.
Oh God. Well, being an employer, look, I'll be dead on honest with you. Being a business owner sometimes sucks. Employees can quit. Think about it. All of your audience out there with a job, you know, you think you can't quit, but you can. I can't. You know, my banker is going to look at me funny if I say, hey, you know what? You know, I don't think I'm going to open today. You know, I don't feel like it anymore. You know, and there's a, you know, the interesting proposition with the American dream. You know, I'm not going to complain, but you know, by the same token, no matter what I do, I still have to keep doing something. So I might as well do something I'm absolutely delighted with. You know, the trust fund did not make it rain. You know, yeah, it definitely did not. And you know, I think that's true for a whole bunch of people. And you know, I absolutely think that anybody can do it. I mean, you know, we talk a lot about, you know, you know, the biggest obstacles between our ears, and you know, I've studied a bunch of the stuff about, you know, what's a habit. Actually, what I've studied is where, you know, in theory, your mind controls everything you're supposed to be doing, but because you've got these habits that are ingrained, your body actually controls everything. And I was actually just talking about it the other night because I'm working the line. I'm doing the saute station. I got a lobster pasta, and I do this without even thinking. You know, boom, 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 sauce, scallops, crab meat, lobster, boom, 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 done. Chopped tarragon, bring it up. You know, boom. I don't even think about it. So how many of these maneuvers do we go through on our daily, in our lives that are just automatic? Oh my God, you know, what if I just did one thing differently? And what if I focused my energy in just one different area? What if I, you know, blah, blah, blah. What if? We'll just do it.
So you were featured in a book recently, Breakthrough: Powerful Stories from Global Authorities That Are Guaranteed to Equip Anyone for Real Life Breakthroughs. Talk to us about.
Yeah. Well, I got invited to be part of this book. I'm a co-author. There's 23 odd chapters in it. A mentor of mine is this guy named Johnny Wimbrey, who's also an author. His prominent book is called From the Hood to Good. He was basically a criminal whose story is incredibly powerful, and now he spends his time. He's got a fabulous business empire, but his mission is to help people. And one of the favorite phrases that he uses that I've been known to repeat from time to time is, "You got to participate in your own rescue." Another guy in the book is well known in certain circles. His name's Les Brown. Nice guy from Florida. Loves peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Refers to himself as Mamie Brown's baby boy, and his story is absolutely incredible. He's a he's a world-renowned motivational speaker. And the third guy who's part of this thing is named Nick Halleck, who wrote a book like it's similar to the 4-Day Work Week, but he's one of these guys where everything he's touched is gold. So, but my chapter is about a breakthrough. You know, it's kind of a mini story of my life, autobiography, whatever you want to call it. And you know, what I've come to understand is that we have to live life on life's terms, but we are also fortunate enough that we can renegotiate on a daily basis. But it's up to us. You know, the terms are there, the terms and conditions are there, they're written there, but you know, if we accept them 100% on a daily basis, maybe it's not going to be what we want, maybe it's not going to be what we deserve, but it's going to be what we got. So that's kind of that kind of backed me into this conclusion that, you know, after owning a restaurant and being unemployable, I needed something else. And it's not a backup plan. There's a big difference between what I'm doing and a backup plan. You know, I really don't have a backup plan. As I was joking with somebody the other day, I said, some people burn bridges, not me. I take explosives and blow them to smithereens.
Fantastic. Now, for those of you watching, if you want to check out Henry's book or actually check out all the fabulous advice he gives to entrepreneurs on LinkedIn, we've got a link to you to go check out Henry. It is yourbrilliance.org/Henry. That's yourbrilliance.org/Henry. Henry, thank you so much for coming onto the show and telling us your stories. I wondered if you had any last message you would like to leave our viewers with.
My two last messages are certainly, do your homework, do your own self-examination and see, people think that, change is hard, and change is hard, but, overcoming inertia is generally the biggest, most difficult thing. And, if you really are serious about some kind of change in your life, take a shot. I'm happy to dispense advice, but, in the long run, you got to figure out what you want to do and what you're doing. If you want to learn how to get paid to travel, I'm your guy without a doubt. The other thing that I have to tell people is when you're cooking pasta, make sure you put some salt in the water. I've seen some of you guys, I've seen some of you people, I've tasted some of that stuff. Come on. And if you're not sure how much salt you should put in, taste it. It should taste a little salty, okay? Anyway, that's what I got for you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Henry. And thank you out there for watching. We hope to see you again soon. Until then, let your brilliance shine.